does anybody read and or are aware of Consumer Reports? My dad loves Consumer Reports. He's like, I'm like, Dad, I'm thinking about getting a new washer and dryer. And he's like, oh, Consumer Reports says such and such is the best washer and dryer. Or I'm like, Dad, you need a new router. Why don't you go into these Google routers that we got here? Oh, Consumer Reports says such and such is the best is the best router. I don't know if it's like an older generation thing. He loves Consumer Reports. Or he's like, oh, well, yeah, Consumer Reports didn't rate it that well. I'm like, well, okay. It's one of those things. But Consumer Reports came out with the very best phone. The very best phone rankings. Now, you're hesitant to trust Consumer Reports. Yeah, maybe it's a boomer thing. I don't know how old you are. I think it's it's a, 50 and up thing. Because Consumer Reports was around for when I was a little kid and he was, my age. They've been around for years. I don't read their publications. I don't follow anything they say. I can't even tell you the last time I visited their website. It used to come in paperback. It used to come in a magazine like Time Magazine or Newsweek. Uh, guess what? We used to get them every every month. I would see my dad would get Consumer Reports. But Consumer Reports now has phone rankings. And guess what phone they put at number one? Can you guess? Was it iPhone? Was it the iPhone Air? Maybe? Was it the S25 FE? Was it iPhone 17 Pro? All wrong. Was it the Pixel? No, not a Pixel. It was
the S26 Ultra.
Was I surprised? Not really, but was I kind of like, huh? Scratching my head? Yeah, maybe. The S26 Ultra tops the Consumer Reports rankings for smartphones in the world, any smartphone, anywhere. So the S26 Ultra has been recognized by Consumer Reports as the very best smartphone currently available to purchase, excelling in key areas such as display quality, camera performance, and battery life. Makes you wonder, did they really test this thing? Because, yeah, I would say it's a pretty good phone, and I really don't, again, I don't have any gripes about it. But there's been a lot of people, but I still think the S25 Ultra has a better display. Battery life, pretty good, but not legendary, not like OnePlus 16. Cameras, certainly nothing to brag about. It's kind of like, you know what it is? I think, dare I say, they pay Consumer Reports to put this out because I don't know if it's, again, it's a good phone and I would recommend it, but what did they say? It says excelling, the S26 Ultra excels in key areas such as display quality, camera performance, and battery life. I'm like, that's not even like the top features that I would honestly describe. That would not be at the top of my list of things that I would be trying to promote. The top rating is attributed to the device's balanced integration of hardware, software, leading to an overall excellent performance score from the rigorous testing organization. Key specs contributing to this high ranking include a blah 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 6.9 inch AMOLED display, 3000 nits peak brightness, custom Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset, 200 megapixel primary sensor, and a 5000 milliampere hour battery with 60 watt charging. But they didn't tell you that 200 megapixel sensor is like 5 years old. They didn't tell you that 5000 milliampere hour battery is actually lithium ion, not the latest silicon carbon, and it's actually small for an ultra phone nowadays, which are like 7,000 milliampere hours. And 60 watt charging, it is faster this year than last year. It's not OnePlus fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all just really generic crap that they just pulled out of the air. A notable feature highlighted, of course, is the privacy display, designed to prevent unwanted viewers from either side, which Consumer Reports views as a significant step forward in smartphone screen technology. The S26 Ultra has also garnered other accolades, including quote unquote best in show at Mobile World Congress, reinforcing its status as a leading device for consumers globally. Available in the United States starting at $1,300, the phone's premium price point is justified by its top tier performance and features as validated by Consumer Reports. Okay, if only Samsung implemented silicon carbon batteries, only if. Now they are working on, we talked about that maybe a month ago. They're working on something similar. It's like silicon carbon 2.0. It's their version of silicon carbon, although it's not technically described as silicon carbon because they honestly cannot source enough silicon carbon. There's just not that much material, physical silicon carbon in the world to supply all of the phones that they sell. So they had to essentially I don't know if they made this tech up on their own or if somebody else patented it and they're just paying them to use the technology. But I do know they're working on a denser battery material that's going to be a next generation from their typical lithium ion batteries that's in the S26 series. It's called something like silicon carbon, but it's not. But I'm hoping they implement this in the S27 series. I think they're shooting for the S27 Pro and S27 Ultra. If not S27 series, it'll definitely be S28 series. I've heard they're actually really, really close with all their testing, with all the R&D. I just don't know if the time-wise in the time frame, if it's going to be, line up with the release of the S27 series. Because remember, they actually put everything together. If the S27 series comes out in, they got to have everything together because they start manufacturing these. If they get released in February, they start putting them together, manufacturing these in like November, December. So that means even before that, they got to have all their testing, all their R&D done, even before November, December, probably September, October. So we only got like another 4 months left, but I've heard they're really, really close. So we'll just have to wait and see, but it's a long time coming. There's a noticeable difference when you use a phone with silicon carbon battery. A noticeable difference. The battery, it's hard to kill. Charge is super fast, and it'll change your life. So honestly, if you go get a OnePlus 15, even that Motorola Signature that I used, long battery life, charges like that, and you can make them slim too. So they'll get there. Apple will be the last company to jump on board, but Samsung sure is taking their time. Yeah, definitely Samsung needs to step their game up. I've been using my Oppo Find N6. Oh, nice. And my battery gives me 2-day use, and that's using the big display. Damn. See, that has silicon carbon in there. So it'll change your life. I know. That's like moving to this S26 Ultra. I may have to put my SIM back in my OnePlus 15. It's hard to kill the battery. Especially with no SIM in there. When it's just running on Wi-Fi, thing lasts for 3 or 4 days. I mean, it's incredible how long these batteries last now. So that's what I'm saying. This Consumer Reports thing, I'm like, I mean, I get it. It might be one of the better Android phones, but God, they still have so far to go. Honestly, they could make it so much more of a badass phone. Yet it's just like taking baby steps with these devices, with these features. They're just taking their time on everything. And it comes down to money, obviously, because if they did put everything in there that we wanted in there, like silicon carbon battery, like brand new freaking cameras in the all new camera system, you're looking at a phone instead of $1,300. You're going to be looking at a phone that at the very cheapest, it's like 1,500, 1,600 bucks. So they have a price point they got to stick to. But for those that want everything under the sun in the phone, I kind of think they need to make one for us. Now I know they're introducing a pro model next year, and from what I understand, it's going to be the Ultra just minus an S Pen. But also, if you dig through those stories that came out a few weeks ago, it sounds like they're gonna take that the S27 Pro is actually going to be better than the Ultra, meaning they're going to take the money they saved and not putting an S Pen in the Ultra and saving that money that they're not going to have to do Bluetooth certification on each device. They're going to take that money, that little chunk of money that they saved, and upgrade something else inside of that phone, whether it's a brand new camera sensor or whether it is a silicon carbon battery or something like that. That's kind of what it looks like they're going to do. So I hope they go that route. Me personally, I wouldn't mind paying a little extra for better specs. I mean, that's just me. I want the best specs. That's like we haven't had a perfect phone yet, ever. Now, I know there's some phones out there that are pretty nice, pretty freaking nice, and pretty close to being like a perfect phone, but there's just not. There has not been a phone produced that has the very best cameras, the very best battery life, the very fastest charging, the very best display, the very best, front-facing selfie camera. There's just not. Each and every phone that's been put out, I don't care what phone it is, it's always even if it's a phone that's at the very top that everybody praises, there's still one or two features on there that could be improved, or there's still one or two features on there that another phone beats out. You see what I'm saying? So we'll just have to wait and see. But I sure hope they do something with this pro model next year, because that's the one I'm going to get. I think, to be quite honest with you, I use my S Pen a lot, but geez, I don't know. If it has better specs, I'm probably going to get it, to be quite honest with you. You're not holding on to your breath, that Samsung upgrades anything. Well, very true. When Samsung nails Exynos, I think it'll be good for their company to become more independent. I do too. I guarantee you, it's like sticking a knife in the Samsung executives and just twisting it around. Man, they would kill to have a CPU like Apple, right? Dare even I say Google. Look, the Tensor is absolutely nothing to brag about, but I mean, it's consistent. I mean, it may be consistently low on benchmarks, but it's not like Samsung over here where it's hit or miss. It's either they got something good or it's just total trash. At least the Tensor is consistent, right? Yeah, I bet, and that's why you see them trying so hard over the last 2 years, because they need this to work. They desperately need this to work. That may be right there the very reason why we don't get the very best specs. They're paying $282 per CPU to Qualcomm per device. That is insane. They could probably, if they use their own Exynos CPUs, probably spend about half that buying their own product. Probably 110, 120, 130 bucks per device. Then they can turn around, use that money, that extra $140, their savings, that they don't have to go out and buy Qualcomm CPUs for these devices. They can go put new sensors in. They can go put that new battery tech in there. See what I'm saying? Like, it is absolutely imperative that they have their own CPUs, because look, Qualcomm's prices are not coming down. They're going to get more expensive, and I know Samsung doesn't want to raise the prices, so they're going to have to get this thing worked out. They're absolutely going to have to. And give them 3 years. I was hoping they would have it by the Exynos 2700 for the Samsung S27 series, but last time I looked at their yield rate for their wafers, it was at like 55%. And again, it needs to be like right around 70% for it to kind of be worth their time and effort and investment to, be successful. So it's gotten better than last year's. So maybe it's just a slow adoption rate, just 3 years is probably a good time frame. Hopefully 2. But look, they would take it. Honestly, if you told them in 3 years, it's gonna be a next rough, 2 years, but within 3 years, you'll have something on your hands. They'll take it, right? They'll take it. At least be 90% as good as MediaTek or Snapdragon. Yep. Exactly. It's all, if you only have $500 to put together a project, the more you spend on one piece of that part, the less you got to spend on other parts. It's I don't think a lot of people kind of really look at it like that, but it's as simple as that. So yeah, if they can get their own CPUs going, I think it'll make for a happier consumer, because then they don't necessarily have to raise the prices to put better specs in there.